Alright, so the active stabilization is turned on for the Xperia Pro I. The ISO is at 100 and the shutter speed is 1/4000. Alright, so decided to try a different lighting scenario with both of these devices. Right now the sun is directly overhead, so it's about noon. For this portion of the video, I'm going to walk and vlog in this lighting condition so you can get an idea how the video performance is in this type of environment. Alright, so the active stabilization is turned on for the Xperia Pro I. The ISO is at 100 and the shutter speed is 1/4000. I'm just doing a nice comfortable walk here, nothing too stressful. It's a bit windy right now, so I'm using the stock mono microphone in the rear with the intelligent wind filter turned on. I am using the Sony Bluetooth grip with the Xperia Pro I about 3 feet away from my face, so this will give you an idea of how wide this lens is at this distance. Alright, so here is the Sony ZVE-10 in the same environment as Xperia Pro I. So I'm going to go ahead and vlog and start walking so you can see the image stabilization. So for all those videos that I was doing for the ZVE-10, I had the image stabilization turned off because I'm going to run this through Catalyst Browse to stabilize the footage. So right now the video stabilization is turned off, and then later on I'm going to put this through Catalyst Browse. Now what I'm going to do here soon is I'm going to actually switch it over to the active stabilization so you can see how this performs with that option turned on, in case you don't want to run it through Catalyst Browse. Alright, so now I have the Sony Steady Shot in active mode turned on, so you can see how it looks if you decide to use this option. I think it cropped in on me because I'm using 4K here to record this video. It's a bit windy, so I had to use a wind muff or dead cat on my lapel microphone, so hopefully the audio will come out okay. It is in mono mode too, so you can compare it with the one on the Sony Xperia Pro I to see how the audio performance is in this type of environment. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start jogging and then going to a sprint with this mode turned on. So here's a brisk walk, start jogging, and then let me go for a sprint. So there you go, the Sony ZVE-10 video performance in active stabilization mode without an unstabilized lens. Alright, right now I have the Sony ZVE-10 using the stock microphones without the wind isolator or dead cat with wind reduction turned on. It's a more fair comparison with the Sony Xperia Pro I using its mono microphone and the intelligent wind filter turned on. Now, if you remember earlier in this video, I talked about how I lost the audio for the Sony ZVE-10 when I was doing my hike. Well, I figured out what the problem was, and for that last portion of the video, I know it was a bit windy and difficult to hear my voice, but that is how the ZVE-10 sounds like from its onboard microphones with the wind reduction option turned on. So let's switch to a different setting, and what I was trying to explain is in my last video, I had lost audio from the ZVE-10 when using the Rode SmartLav Plus lapel microphone. Now I'm going to explain why that happened. You have to excuse my voice. I've been sick for a while, so it's affecting the way I sound, and I apologize for that. The Rode SmartLav lapel microphone has what's called a TRSS plug. Before, this was called a male end, but just to be neutral here, it's called a plug. What TRSS means has something to do with the layout of the plug here. So it basically just means tip, ring, you can see the black lines here, and sleeves, that's the portion in between the sleeves. So it's basically a tip, ring, sleeve setup. And all that means is that there's a channel for stereo, so left and right, one for the microphone, and a ground. Now the ZVE-10 uses a TRS jack, and same thing, it just means tip, ring, sleeve, and it just has a left and right channel with a ground but no microphone channel. That's the difference between these two jacks. A lot of smartphones and some devices like the Xperia Pro I use the TRSS jack. So this is okay if I hook it up to my Xperia Pro I and I can just start recording audio from this, no issues. But if I try to use it on the ZVE-10, well, you knew from part 1 that there's not going to be any audio. Alright, so I'm using the Sony Xperia Pro I to film this, and one of the advantages that I noticed it has over the ZVE-10 when doing video like this is that I don't have focusing issues like I do with the ZVE-10 using the Sigma 16mm. When I'm using this, it tends to hunt for focus, so we'll go from foreground to background frequently. But with the Xperia Pro I, everything's in focus, and I find it better to use this device when explaining things like this. Now you can see here on the ZVE-10, the microphone, the onboard microphones are picking up my voice. You can see the left and right channel indicators here are moving every time I talk. So I'm going to try to talk, and you can see here for the channel indicators that it's not moving. This lapel microphone is not going to work on the ZVE-10 with this type of plug. We can fix that by using a TRSS socket to TRS plug. So let's go ahead and switch that out real quick. Now you can see that the microphone is working according to the sound level indicators here on the ZVE-10. It's a very easy fix, but something that I occasionally forget to do. Oh goodness, my Xperia Pro I is overheating, and I've only been recording for a few minutes. Let me take a screenshot of this. There you have it. That is the reason why the audio was missing from the ZVE-10 from part 1 of this video. For this next portion of the video, I was going to put the ND filter on the Xperia Pro I and also on this camera, so you can get an idea what it looks like using it in this type of environment, which it would be perfect right now. However, I can't even turn on the Video Pro app for the Xperia Pro I because it's just too hot. And I brought up this issue several times before in my video. It really holds back this device to be able to use it in almost anywhere. And it's not good that I can't use Xperia Pro I whenever I want. It defeats the purpose of it being a device or a camera aimed specifically at content creators, because content creators or videographers or photographers do shoot at different times of the day. I know there are rules that says you're not supposed to or supposed to, but in reality, I want to be able to film or use a camera anytime I want. And that's why I can't have the Xperia Pro I as my only camera. I need to have something like the ZVE-10, which I feel confident bringing it out in this type of environment, in this type of high temperature, and I can keep recording without having to worry about it shutting down or not even turning on. So it might be okay if you live in an environment where it's a little bit cooler than what I'm in. The temperature here is usually 30 degrees plus with high humidity a lot of the times. Definitely not an environment the Xperia Pro I is good at. I can tell you from owning the Sony ZV-1 and the ZVE-10, they don't have an issue recording or photographing in this type of environment. If you don't want to deal with the heavier camera body and lens of the ZVE-10, the ZV-1 is a good option as a step up from the Xperia Pro I for recording video or doing photos. You just have to worry about the LCD screen. Might be a bit difficult to see in bright sunny environments like this. And yeah, my arm is starting to get tired just from filming that bit. So with this lens, the Sigma 16mm lens, it is a bit heavy to use one-handed, and for vlogging out this far. I don't know if you can see that. Alright, so 20 minutes has passed. I'm finally able to use the Xperia Pro I and the Video Pro app. I'm going to go ahead and finish off this section quickly because I don't think I'll be able to use it after this. Even though it's windy where I'm at right now, for some reason this phone just doesn't want to cool down. And when I pick it up, it's really hot to the touch. And I do have it in airplane mode and I am not using the case. So I'm wondering why it's taking longer than usual for this phone to cool down so I can start using it. This is so frustrating. The thing with these displays, it's very hard to see in this type of environments. And if you remember from part one, I told you one of the issues that I had was the screens are very sensitive. So when you're moving around and vlogging like this, you might actually touch a setting that you don't want. And that's what happened. It went from autofocus to manual focus. So for a lot of these videos that I recorded earlier, the focus is off. How can this be a camera for content creators when you have to worry about these little things all the time? You're constantly checking. You want to be able to just hit record in auto mode and not have to worry about settings being off or whatever when you're doing these types of vlogs. Right before I started recording this video, this giant generator turns on. So if you're wondering what that noise is in the background, that's what it is. But at least can test the performance of the Rode Smart Lav mic with the wind muff on it. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit brighter than now. There is some overcast. I really wanted to push both of these devices and see how they perform in really bright sunlight. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer and hopefully get some more sun so we can see how both of these cameras perform in really bright settings. Alright, so it's about early afternoon right now, and I'm trying to take advantage of the really bright sunlight so you can see how both of these cameras perform in this type of setting. I've only been recording with the Xperia Pro for about 15 minutes, and it's just giving me frequent warnings that the device is overheating, some functions are going to be shut down, and eventually the phone will be shut down. So, you know, as I mentioned earlier, it's frustrating to have to wait for the Xperia Pro to cool down and then start recording, and then it's going to overheat and then wait for it to cool down. When I'm doing a vlog, I want to be able to get through the scenes quickly. I don't want to have to keep waiting in one spot or keep coming back to it because of this issue. As I said in my previous videos, the Xperia Pro is a very excellent vlogging device. It's perfect except for this nagging overheating issue. It's just not ready for content creators. I'm already making these complaints frequently throughout my video, and it dissuades me from wanting to go to the next version if it ever comes out. Well, it's about 2 in the afternoon now. The Xperia Pro cooled down a little bit, so I was able to get some more footage. But I have a feeling that, yeah, I'm gonna have to end this segment soon. The Xperia Pro is getting really hot to the touch, and I'm still getting frequent warnings about it overheating. Alright, so if you're wondering how the case for the Xperia Pro, the one from Sony, looks after I've been using it for, I think, 8 months or 9 months, here it is. You can see that it looks pretty beat up. Also, this Spigen hand strap is junk. Just after a month, it started to come apart here. You can see right here. Don't buy it. Alright, that's it for this place. It's getting really hot now. It's almost 2:30 and the Xperia Pro is just, it's not gonna make it. So let's go on to somewhere else. I was supposed to go to another location around 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. to get a different time frame and a lighting environment to test the autofocus performance for the Xperia Pro I and ZVE-10. However, as I mentioned quite a few times during this video, the Xperia Pro I kept overheating on me, and it came to the point where I couldn't use it anymore without getting frustrated. So I'm going to end this video now. Maybe in the future I will go ahead and do a part 3 for this video, but I think for now, because the weather here is very hot and the temperatures average about 31 to 36 degrees Celsius daily, it's not good to use Xperia Pro I in those temperatures. Right now it's about 9:30 in the morning, and I did try to record with the Xperia Pro I earlier, and within 30 seconds of shooting a video, it started to give me overheating warnings. I also mentioned in part 1 that I was going to show footage from the 50mm lens of the Xperia Pro I and the 45mm Sigma lens, but I think I will save that for another video because of the overheating issues with the Xperia Pro I. Alright, so leave in the comments if you notice a difference between the Xperia Pro I and the ZVE-10 in bright conditions from 12 to around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. If you'd like to see me make more videos on either the ZVE-10 or Xperia Pro I, also leave it in the comments. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and until next time, stay safe, keep learning, and aloha. So some people wonder why I even do a comparison between an APS-C mirrorless camera and a device like the Xperia Pro I. And image quality is not everything when it comes to video. This was supposed to be my closing shot for this video from the ZVE-10, but when you look at it compared to the Xperia Pro I's footage, you can tell it's having issues with its autofocus. It keeps hunting for focus. If you look at the Xperia Pro I, it has no issues doing that, and that's one of the reasons I had to switch to manual mode for the remaining footage of the ZVE-10 in bright environments with the Sigma lens. As a final thought, don't just look at the video quality between these two devices. You have to look at a lot of other factors to determine which device is best for the environment you want to film in, and does it offer less issues considering the time frame that you have to record a video.